Hello friends. Before a movie is released, we generally get to see a very short teaser followed by a trailer. Patanjali follows a similar structure in his Yoga Sutras. In Yoga Sutra 1.17 and 1.18, we had learnt about two very deep states of consciousness, namely Sampragyaat, which literally means that which is known in its details, and the other that is Asampragyaat. Now before that, in Yoga Sutras 1.13 and 1.14, Patanjali gave us a glimpse on how to reach these states and told us about practice and dispassion, that is abhyasa and vairagya. Now in Yoga Sutras 1.20, 1.21 and 1.22, he delves into slightly more details on how to reach these states of Samadhi. But for the whole movie, we will have to wait till chapter 2 or Saadhan Paad of the Yoga Sutras. So Yoga Sutra 1.20 reads, Shraddha Virya Smriti Samadhi Pragya Purvak Itaresham. Translated as, but for others, the state where only subconscious impressions remain is preceded by faith, vigor, memory, samadhi or absorption, and discernment or decisive knowledge. The constituent words of this sutra are written as shown. Here, the last word, itaresham, refers to others or those who are different from Prakriti Layanams, that is, the beings described in the preceding Yoga Sutra of 1.19. Prakriti Layanams are yogis who have reached a very high state of Samadhi but are still associated with Prakriti. This Yoga Sutra 1.20 states that to avoid getting stuck in the state of Prakriti Layanam, the yogi needs to develop the characteristics of Shraddha, that is faith, Virya, that is vigor, and Smriti, which is memory. As a yogi develops these characteristics through abhyasa and vairagya, it will automatically lead to the state of Samadhi. The word consists of the root word dha and two prefixes sam and a. It is also to be noted that the word dhi in Sanskrit also refers to intellect or thought. The prefix sam means entire or perfect, whereas the prefix a indicates till or towards, and the root word dha refers to fix, concentrate or hold. Therefore, the literal meaning of the word samadhi refers to a very distilled state of mind. And as per the etymology, samadhi is a state of being which is perfectly fixed or entirely concentrated. Hence, the popular translation of the word samadhi in English language is absorption. In this sutra, the word samadhi is followed by pragya. The word has two syllables, pra, which refers to thoroughly, and gya, which means to understand, know, or learn. Therefore, pragya means discernment or wisdom or decisive knowledge, and in this context refers to the ability to comprehend the yogic processes of Samadhi. Now, chapter 1 of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is called Samadhi Paad, and it is here in Yoga Sutra 1.20 that Patanjali uses the word Samadhi for the first time. Interestingly, here the word Samadhi is not used as the final state of yoga, but as a step in the process. This clearly indicates that Samadhi is a fluid word and can refer to many different states of mental absorption, which we will learn about in more detail later in the Yoga Sutras. Now, getting back to the Yoga Sutra 1.20, it is important to note that Shraddha or faith is an intrinsic property of any spiritual process. Unless one has faith in the spiritual ideal, it is very hard to undergo the otherwise boring practices essential for making spiritual progress. It is Shraddha which fuels or imparts motivation to perform sustained spiritual practice. It is also Shraddha which helps in developing virya or vigor in our spiritual practices, and also helps in developing clarity of thought, which Patanjali alludes to by Smriti in this sutra. One may then ask about how to develop this quality of Shraddha in spiritual process. The best way to develop it is through spiritual company. If you spend more time amidst people who have this quality, it will naturally develop within you also. As someone famously said, you are the average of 5 people you spend most of your time with. Now, once you have developed Shraddha, the next step is to apply yourself vigorously to the actual practices. And that is what Patanjali talks about in the next 2 sutras. Yoga Sutra 1.21 tells us about the importance of cultivating intense urge towards achieving the highest goal of yoga. It says, Tivra samveganam asannaha, translated as, the state of Sampragyaat is near for those who apply themselves intensely. This small sutra can be broken down into 3 words, Tivra, Samveganam and Asannaha. The word Tivra means intense, acute or keen. The following word Samveganam is made of the word Samveg, which means impulse or urge. The suffix Anam is indicative of plurality. Therefore, Samveganam indicates that those intensely committed towards the above mentioned 4 attributes of Shraddha, Virya, Smriti and Samadhi Pragya get to the highest state of yoga, that is Samadhi, closer, indicated by the 3rd word, that is Asannaha, which means near or proximate. In short, those with intense urge towards achieving the highest state of yoga get to the goal sooner. Now, this obviously holds true not just for yoga, but for any field of work. In the next Yoga Sutra 1.22, Patanjali further states that there are 3 levels or degrees of seriousness at which one could pursue the goal of yoga. And Yoga Sutra 1.22 reads, Mradu madhyadi matratva tattopi visheshaha, translated as, even among those, that is, among Tivra Samveganams, there is further differentiation of the intensity into degrees of mild, mediocre and extreme. To understand this sutra in detail, let us look into its constituent words. Mradu, Madhya, Adhimatra, Tvat, Tatah, Api and Visheshaha. Mradu is derived from the root word mrad, which means earth, and its properties of being easily crushed, mild and soft, etc. The word Madhya refers to moderate or medium, and Adhimatra indicates more than the portion. Therefore, these 3 words indicate 3 levels of effort, because of which even the intense effort or Tivra Samveganam mentioned in the previous Yoga Sutras 1.21 becomes distinct or Vishesh, since it can have 3 degrees of navigation. Now, Patanjali is one of the greatest teachers of yoga to have walked on this earth, and he knew very well that the path of yoga is not easy to pursue, even for those who apply themselves very intensely with superhuman levels of dispassion. So, after having spoken about the importance of intense effort in the next few Yoga Sutras, starting from 1.23, he talks about a very different approach that is a lot more practical for common people like you and me. And that path is devotion to God, or more specifically, Ishwar Pranidhan. Our next video will be a detailed account on the concept of Ishwar and the path of devotion. Till then, stay connected.